Most of us have a few harmless habits to ward off bad luck. You might knock on wood, avoid walking under a ladder, or wear a lucky shirt on game day to keep a winning streak alive. For people navigating severe anxiety or OCD, these small behaviors shed their harmless status. They become mandatory laws of survival that must be followed to prevent a perceived catastrophe. Clinicians identify this specific cognitive state as magical thinking. It is the conviction that internal thoughts or arbitrary actions, like tapping a doorknob, can exert a direct causal influence on the external world, even when there is no logical connection between the two. When this takes over, the mind turns into a battlefield. The boundaries between imagination and physical reality blur, leaving the individual to navigate a world governed by fear rather than physics. This fear is driven by a cognitive glitch called thought-action fusion. The first half of this fusion is the belief that simply imagining a catastrophic event, like a car accident or a fire, increases the mathematical probability of it actually happening. The second half is a moral judgment. The individual believes that having a dark or unacceptable intrusive thought makes them a bad person, effectively making them as guilty as if they had actually performed the act. This creates a feared self, a version of the identity the person is terrified of becoming, leading to a constant, desperate effort to prove they aren't that monster. The person lives in a state of high alert, paralyzed by the conviction that their own imagination has become a lethal weapon. Severe magical thinking dictates a rigid daily routine through a self-reinforcing behavioral cycle. Looking at this cycle, it begins the moment an intrusive thought arrives without warning. Because of thought-action fusion, the brain immediately applies a magical interpretation, registering that thought as an imminent physical threat. To lower the resulting anxiety, the person performs a neutralizing compulsion, a ritual like counting or repeating a specific phrase to cancel out the danger. When the disaster fails to materialize, the person feels a wave of temporary relief. But this creates a reinforcement glitch. Since the person feels safe, the brain assumes the magical ritual is what actually saved them, making the belief even stronger. This loop is exhausting. It demands total vigilance, forcing the individual to monitor every mental image and execute every ritual perfectly, all day, every day. Compulsive rituals don't cure the anxiety. They are the exact fuel that keeps the magical belief alive. Breaking this cycle requires evidence-based therapies that act as circuit breakers for the loop. Exposure and response prevention, or ERP, involves exposing the patient to the trigger while strictly blocking the neutralizing ritual. This allows the brain to learn, through direct experience, that the feared catastrophe doesn't happen even without the ritual. Cognitive therapies like ICBT help patients identify inferential confusion, the moment they choose to trust an imagined possibility over the evidence of their own physical senses. Doctors often use pharmacological treatments, such as SSRIs, to lower the baseline volume of the anxiety, making it easier for patients to engage with these behavioral exercises. These treatments prove to the brain that the rituals were never necessary, effectively dissolving the felt link between thoughts and actions. However, stopping the compulsions is only half the battle. Many people find that even when their behaviors change, the underlying feared self and the sense of being too much remain. This creates a frustrating gap. You might understand your condition intellectually, but you don't feel any different. Your story still feels unfinished. This is why Edward Jenny and Associates developed the Deep Insight model. It moves beyond surface-level symptoms to explore the deeper patterns that drive repeating thoughts and emotions. Traditional talk therapy can sometimes hit a wall of intellectual defenses. By using advanced psychological tools like Rorschach inkblots, clinicians can uncover subconscious insights and patterns that standard conversation often misses. This approach helps you replace judgment with genuine curiosity, allowing you to finally dismantle the roots of self-blame and make sense of your own story. You deserve to feel at home in your own skin. To stop fearing your mind and start understanding it, visit www.inkblotdoc.com and take the first step toward deep insight.